All right. Everyone's mic's off. Okay. All right, thank you for those who are joining us in Zoom. Ginger just got a message that people in Zoom could not hear us, so we are improvising, and I am logged into Zoom. And so we're probably going to get a few echoes here until we can get this managed. So thank you for bearing with us. Okay, thank you all. Technical difficulties. I think we've improvised and I think all the board members are now logged into Zoom. So I'm just going to try to talk a little loud so our people here in the audience with us in person can hear the conversation as well. So Leslie, do you feel like we're good to go in Zoom now? Okay. So bear with me. I hope there's no feedback. I'm going to turn on my mic just to see if there's an echo. If there's an echo, I'll turn it off and we'll move forward. So again, thank you all for bearing with us as we move through this technology. All right. I don't hear an echo. All right, so we will move forward. So again, thank you all. So those of us that are just hearing what's been going on, all that we did was introductions. We've gone through the Pledge of Allegiance, the introduction of board members, and we did approve the consent agenda. We did pull off August 25th. That was the regular meeting. We noticed that there was a missing portion, so we voted and we're going to update that for our next meeting. And that's as far as we made it. So we are now into Administration 3A, the Ellensburg School District Nutrition Program overview for this year.
Yes, thank you so much. We're very excited to have our nutrition director, Alexandra Epstein-Schofield, with us. And she's got a great program in store for this year. And I know the board was really wanting to hear some more information about that. So Alexandra, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, everyone. I do have some slides. I'm not sure if Leslie's able to pull those up for me. I have
Alexandra, if you can hear me, you are muted or we can't hear you. So you're not muted. Sorry, I gotta figure out. Make sure that your mic is on. Okay.
You can't hear me?
Yep. A little bit.
You can. Okay, good.
Yes.
That's because it's coming out of my computer.
Yeah. Okay. Everybody can turn off the mic.
If I ever call me, we'll put it on there.
Good to go. Okay. Sorry about that. I did put some slides together. I'm not sure if Leslie has those available maybe to pull up, but I can just go over these. And for the most part, it's a pretty simple overview. I figured you all had some questions. It's been a while since we spoke. So I really just wanted to leave some time for questions and a discussion, but I can give you a basic overview of what we're planning for this year. Is there a way to pull them up on my screen or?
Give her coach. Oh, yeah. Just tell her yes.
I could also share my screen if that's easier.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes, thank you.
Okay, let me grab those for you. Okay, are you able to see all that? Perfect, okay. So this is an overview of this 2021-2022 school year. And what a lot of you might not know is that we are actually operating under a program called the Seamless Summer Option this year. And this was a change this summer from the program that we ran last year, which was the Summer Food Service Program. Seamless Summer is closer to the National School Lunch and School Breakfast programs in terms of meal pattern guidelines. And so our students will see a lot of the same types of offerings they saw prior to COVID-19. However, the administration and the counting and claiming is a little different on my end. So the first main difference between this program and the National School Lunch Program is that breakfast and lunch is offered at no cost for all enrolled in-person learners. And this will be available through the end of the school year. Meals are actually reimbursed by the USDA and in small part by OSPI through some state funding. And as I mentioned, meal pattern guidelines will match the National School Breakfast and School Lunch programs. Programming within our particular district. So I know there were some specific questions about what things would look like this year, and I just wanted to touch on a couple that I've heard. But again, I really wanted to open this up to questions at the end. So we will be serving lunch in what is called an offer versus serve model for the most part. And essentially what that means is that students don't have to take all of the components that are offered. And this was implemented years ago as a way to reduce waste and essentially let students pick and choose the items that are most desirable to them. The only exception to this is that Lincoln, until they move into Ida Nason, will still be operating under what is called the serve-only model. And essentially what that means is that they have to receive all 5 components and they don't have choice until they move into their new school because they are still getting grab-and-go style breakfast and lunches. So they don't have choice. And once they move into Ida Nason, that will change for them. Last year, under the Summer Food Service Program, we operated under this serve-only model. For the most part, we have students coming through the cafeteria to pick up their meals, except again, Lincoln as our exception. Dining occurs in the most part in the cafeteria at most schools. There's a few exceptions. Lincoln's dining in their classrooms for the most part still. And then I believe Valley View has kind of a hybrid, some students in the cafeteria and some in their classrooms. At the elementary school level, we'll be offering 1 main entree a day, and this was what we did prior to COVID-19. And then at the secondary levels, we offer multiple entree options. And then we are actually going back to a modified salad bar. So prior to COVID-19, we had a full-scale salad bar. This is going to be a pared down version. Essentially, we'll have 2 vegetable choices and 2 fruit choices available for students each day. In terms of tableware, I know there was some questions about which type of plates and trays we're using. Currently, we're serving breakfast in paper boats, and then lunch is getting served on paper trays at all levels. So we don't have polystyrene trays for the most part. However, we had a few leftover cases that we're still going through, but we're not ordering anymore. And then at Mount Stewart, we are planning on implementing the reusable trays as soon as our dishwasher is operational. We've had some equipment issues there this week. We're hoping that will happen in the next few days. But we've got the trays over there ready to go. We just need to give them a good preliminary wash and then be able to handle them once they get used. And then Ida Nason's also on board to use the reusable trays once they come on board. This is just an example of what the menu looks like. The one on the left is the elementary school menu for September, and then the one on the right is the high school. So you can see they've got some more entree options, up to 4 each day. These have changed a little bit since I sent them to the printer back in July, but for the most part, this is what we're trying to stick to. We are experiencing some pretty extreme supply and food shortages. And so we have warned our community that we might have to make some last minute substitutions. And this is what we're doing in terms of communication. So when we have to make substitutions or when we need to let families know what meal program we're running under or what's going on in our department, these are the ways we share what we're doing. And generally, I try to send out bulletins or notices to all of the district administrators whenever we have major communications. Most recently, it was this meal program FAQ that I asked them to share or just have on hand for reference if they had questions from parents. The image in the middle is from our Facebook page. The most recent update talks about those food and supply shortages. And then the image on the right is our district page. So I try to keep that updated as well with pertinent information for families. And that's really all I put together for today. And I just wanted to leave the rest open for questions or discussion.
Anyone have any questions?
The pictures make me hungry.
Thank you, Alexandra.
Oh, those are pretty pictures.
Board, any other questions?
I have a, wait, can you hear me okay? Yeah, okay. I have a quick question on the model. Is there a way to, I know the meals are very balanced. Does that lead to a lot of kids like skipping the veggies? Because I have a kindergartner and if he's offered the choice of veggies or not, he'll probably say no.
I didn't get too deep into what the guidelines actually look like this year, but under the National School Lunch Program meal pattern guidelines, students are required to take a fruit at breakfast, and at lunch they have to take either a fruit or a vegetable before they can leave the line. So although we offer them some flexibility and choice, we offer 5 components, which are fruit, vegetables, meat alternates or a protein, and then grains, and then milk is its own category. Of those, for example, for lunch, it's a good example. Of those 5 components, students have to take 3, and of those 3, they have to take a half cup of fruit or vegetable. So they do have to take a fruit or vegetable with every meal.
Thank you.
Is it possible, this could be a question for Kelly Kronbauer also, the polystyrene committee was pretty committed in this work, and it's really exciting that as much movement has happened, because I know you guys have worked really hard. Is it possible to send out communication to them? Do we have any contacts and just say, hey, this is what's happening in our program right now, just to give them an update?
Yeah.
Kelly, I was like, Kelly nodded.
Yeah, I'd be happy to shoot it.
Thank you for that. And my other question is that the food service program has worked really hard to be able to provide service, but it's always had to unfortunately run a deficit where we had debt within the program. With this program and serving all students, is there full reimbursement from the funding sources? Yes. And Alexander, they're all nodding yes up here, so.
Yeah, nobody pays for lunch. It's 100% free for everybody. So really will be data growing.
That's great.
And we have had some wonderful donations from the community. So our general debt is going down. I want to say, and we're working right now on just applying that across even kids that have, so actually no free and reduced kids have that anymore because that's all been paid off. And we have a certain amount of money now that will be going towards, or figuring out how to collectively apply it to the accounts that we do.
Well, as an economist, I have to say there's no such thing as a free lunch. So, so somebody's paying for it. It's just that we aren't paying for it. It's OSPI and USDA. Yeah, okay.
I don't know if she can hear us.
I can kind of hear you. There's a lot of echo. I think I caught it, but was there anything specific, sorry, that I might have missed that you were asking me? No, okay.
No, thank you. Thank you, Alexandra. I think they got it covered. So, just to add to what Tasha had said, it is great to see the reusable trays at the two schools. So, so exciting to see that come through. So, okay. If there are no other questions, we will move on to Administration B. Ginger.
Sorry, that was a long title. I will read it. Certifying 5-year continued use and 30-year extension of the life of the building for portions of the Lincoln Elementary School.
Yes, so this is a resolution that we are asking for you to sign. And I do believe that we have Damon Gardella. And so Leslie, if you can give him unmute Damon, he is in our session there, and he can talk a little bit more about this. But as you know, we have the model well underway, and this is just saying that, you know, we are extending the life of the school by doing this, and just asking basically for you to put your stamp of approval on this overall plan. Damon, do you want to add anything more about the certification? And then I know you can stay on because you're there to help us do an update on the bond project. And we were all, I was at Mount Stewart today. It was just wonderful to see students inside that brand new building. And so, Damon, we're excited to hear an update after you talk about this resolution.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, the resolution is it's really at this point a formality for the board. It's an OSPI requirement to, as part of the D9 to submit to OSPI. Sorry, I'm getting a little feedback. The Lincoln is one of the first SCAP design build projects OSPI has done. So the timing of some of their paperwork is a little off and they're working out all the bugs. This should have been done back in October, but they did not include it as part of their requirements in October. So they're still working out some kinks. So basically the resolution for renovation for SCAP just says that you have to occupy the building for 5 years for what it's intended for. And then we design to a 30-year school, which we do anyway. We actually strive to design for 50-year buildings. So that, in a nutshell, that's the resolution.
So we'd recommend that adoption of this.
I move that we adopt the resolution 012921.
I'll second.
All right, thank you. So Hilda has moved. Hilda has moved that we adopt this. This is a
resolution. Thank you. And Tasha has seconded. Board, is there any discussion? All right, excellent. Then I will call the vote. Hilda? Tasha?
Aye.
Meg?
Aye.
Jonathan?
Aye.
And I also
vote aye.
This
So
has been
this
adopted.
has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you,
And
Damien.
thank you, Damien. Damon.
All right.
All right.
So next up,
So next up we have
administration
administration
C.
C,
OAC
overview of bond projects.
And Damon, if you could speak as loud as possible, we're just having a few technical glitches tonight.
Okay. Can you see my screen? Okay. Okay, thank you. Before I get into the presentation, I just want to take a couple seconds to thank the board and Superintendent Haber for partnering with us back in November of 2018. This all started at that time to get us to basically the point we are at today, which is opening the first school that was in the bond ran back in 2018. It's been a lot of hard work, a lot of commitment, and it was a big weight kind of off the shoulders today to have that first school open and students and staff inside there. I know it's not quite perfect and there's a little bit bugs to work out, and that's typical with any new building. As they occupy the building, we'll continue to work on any issues that come up. But again, just wanted to thank everybody for this opportunity. Okay, so we'll just go through a quick update of where we're at with the projects. A lot of you are probably familiar with Mount Stewart, where we're at, just because it did open for school today. So over the last week, we have been, or the contractor has been, really just getting the site around the school ready. Teachers have been in unpacking and occupying inside the building. So as you can see, there's a new seat in the courtyard, play equipment's up, wood chips. But the bulk of the work around and in the school is done. There are, like I said, some minor things that we'll have to still address and work out as the building is used. We have moved on to the other phase, though, however, which is demolition of the existing school. I don't know if anybody has had time to drive by, but here's a couple of pictures to give you an idea what it's looking like. They are moving rapidly and tearing the building down. And making really good progress. I think it was the overall schedule was 3 weeks from the time they started demolition of the building to have the building completely knocked down and removed. So I think right now we're on schedule to get clearance to demolition the last pod this Friday. So next week, next Monday, they'll start demolition of that final pod of the school. So kind of cool, big equipment. I'm sure it's exciting for the kids and stuff to see all that heavy machinery out there. Like I said, the school is very first school. Obviously, the kids are in there today. I had a chance to walk through with Superintendent Haber yesterday, and the school it looks amazing. It was just nice to see all the classrooms put together, the teachers occupying the spaces and ultimately ready for students this morning. So beautiful facility, like I said, and it was really neat to do that walkthrough yesterday and see. I know there was talks of after school is in for a couple weeks to maybe start some tours and stuff. So that'll be exciting as well. One part where I actually haven't updated you on, it's such a quick phase. It didn't get to start until school is out, and we will have it ready for the Early Learning Center, have it ready to be occupied here in a couple of weeks when that program starts. And they have been very busy over there. There was a lot of work to do in a short amount of time. But the outside of the building, for all intents and purposes, is fairly complete. The new roof is on, paint, the new windows are in. The outside actually looks somewhat like a fairly new, renovated, nice building, and they're working really hard on the inside. There's flooring installed in the classrooms. This here's a picture of the bathroom. Even since this picture is taken, plumbing fixtures have gone in, and a lot of work is happening at the LC to get that space ready as well. And up at Ida, Nason, and Aronica, that is where all the focus is now. A lot of activity to be, and a lot of work to be done up there. There was a big push to get Mount Stewart done and opened in time for school, but now that that has happened, all the crews are back up at the new school, Ida, Nason, Aronica, and it is all hands on deck up there. A lot of work to be done. The big focus is all the sidewalks and curbing and parking lot area, the entry of the school, the site work. And as you can see from the picture, a lot of machinery on site, a lot of activity, and it's changing day by day. Inside, the school's coming along really nice. The classrooms, when you walk through the school, they look fairly complete. And there is flooring in, casework's in. They still have to put in the sinks and some ceiling tiles, but pretty minor work in there. And the hallways, they'll focus on completing those up once the classrooms are done. So it's kind of like Mount Stewart was about a month ago to 5 weeks ago. So it's all going through the same cycle up there. And then onto the newest project, Lincoln Elementary School. A lot of activity over the summer there. We have scaled back a little bit just because school is now occupied for the next 5 weeks, as everyone knows. So the focus is just on the outside work. The North Portable disappeared last week. So we're down to one portable on site, and the contractor is occupying that portable for the time being. And they were making room, basically, as you can see in the background there. The holes in the side of the building is where the new elevator will be placed, and the addition for that. And so they're going to start focusing on working over there while school's in session. Crews continue to work on footings and foundations for the new gymnasium, and that's the pictures you see here. So the area where the new gymnasium that will be placed is fenced off, and we will continue to work out there and at the elevator addition while school's in session until they move out. And then obviously once the student staff move out next month, we will start demolition and construction of the interior of the school. So like I said, our kids are occupying the building. We made sure the site was level, free of tripping hazards, things like that. We do have a 6-foot fence to delineate the playground area from the construction area. We had a meeting today, and the principal and assistant principal were very pleased with the amount of space that we were able to give back to them temporarily, and the way we were able to safe off that area for the students to have their recesses outside and get a little fresh air. Of course, like I said, the contractor will continue to work. We are going to do everything we can to minimize any disruptions to inside of the school. If we have any very loud disruptive work, such as compacting soils and things like that, we will focus on doing that before and after school hours, and then just do the kind of the minor disruptive stuff during school hours. So with that, that is my update, but I would love to answer any questions if you have any.
Ms. Picky details here. Is it actually Nason hyphen Aronica or not? That's what I thought. Okay, because that's what it says on the slides. I just want to do the right thing.
Thanks, Meg. Are there any other questions from the board?
Yes, congratulations. This is all what we've been kind of waiting for. So thank you, Damon.
there's
been a lot of work and effort
to see where we are today. So again, thank you for all your work on this, and we look forward to seeing the next school completed. So it looks like we're close. So again, thank you for this report and update.
Yeah, we really have a great team with Dark Construction, Tagus Architecture, and it took everybody to get to this point, and we are so excited for 5 weeks from now when we're going through the same process at Ellensburg, Veronica. So thank you again.
All right, thank you. All right, so board. Too many buttons I gotta keep pushing here. So board that we don't have anything listed under business. But we do have one policy tonight. So Ginger and Meg, and I think we have staff here as well.
Yes, so this, we're recommending adoption of this policy. And I'm gonna let Neil Musser's here to talk about it. It is really changing some language to include all secondary students as opposed to just high school. And Neil Musser is our district safety director. And he's going to give us an update as far as why he really thinks that this change is important. Sure. Yeah. Just talk extra loud.
Yep. I will do that. And then can I share my screen as well? Okay. It's crazy what we have to do. Why am I not sharing my screen? Here we go. Okay, can you see that? All right. So thank you, board. I requested a few weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago, that we would revise our current policy, which is, I believe, 3242 or 3224, which is about having Narcan, which is the one of the generic drug names for naloxone, in our schools. We currently have doses of Narcan at the high school level, and Narcan is an opioid overdose reversal medication. So what I wanted to do is to try to amend the policy just a little bit to have that available to our staff to administer at the middle school if we needed. And so in talking with Kelly and with Ginger about that, we felt it was a good idea to come and share a little bit more about why, and a little bit more about what is Narcan, which is a drug name for naloxone, which is the actual reversal medication for overdose that we use. So I put together this FAQ about what that is. And I'm sorry if this is a little bit boring, if some of you already know about opioids and the issue that we are seeing nationwide with opioid overdose. So opioids are in a class that includes heroin, but also synthetic opioids like fentanyl, and then legally obtained prescription pain relievers like oxycodone, hydrocodone, morphine, et cetera. So why do we need it in our schools? You can read some of those statistics right there, but just in 2019, we had almost 71,000 drug overdose deaths. And of that, almost 3/4 of them were from opioids. And of that, almost 3/4 of that were synthetic opioids, which includes the really powerful drug fentanyl. It's a synthetic, meaning it's not manufactured from the opium poppy. It's actually manufactured from in a lab. And to give you an idea about how dangerous fentanyl is, it takes about 2 milligrams to equal a lethal dose of fentanyl, and that's about 2 grains of salt is considered a lethal dose for most people. So what's happening is what we're seeing is illegal drug manufacturers and illegal pill presses. They're taking and making illegal drugs, and then they're putting fentanyl in them. And about a quarter of those pills that we find, that law enforcement finds on the street contain a lethal dose of fentanyl. So by and large, fentanyl is one of those things that we're really worried about, but all opioids we are certainly worried about. And we have, there is access to just about anything in our community, just like in any other community, as far as illegal drugs go. So what is naloxone? That's the opioid overdose reversal medication. We have Narcan in our schools, which is a nasal delivered drug. And what opioids do is it really slows down the central nervous system. And what the reversal medication does is it gets in there, pushes the opioid from the opioid receptor in the brain out, and it blocks it so that the person can start breathing normally again. Because when you overdose on an opioid, it shuts your central nervous system down and your heart rate down, and then the person just stops breathing. So will it help someone if they've overdosed on other drugs other than opioids? No, it will not. It only helps if it's an opioid overdose. However, it's extremely safe. So if someone were to happen to get, suspect that it was an opioid overdose and give that person naloxone, it would not harm the person. There's no side effects. So it's a very safe drug to give. And that's why it's approved in schools to give by non-medical personnel. Some other questions that I'll let you read through. We may have to give it more than once because especially if someone has fentanyl in their system, because that opioid itself can last 90 minutes or more. And then the naloxone itself is a quick acting drug. So after we've revived them, hopefully they might need a second dose. So we will definitely be calling 911 if we have to use it. We've never used it to date in schools, by the way, and we've had it in place for a number of years. So thankfully we've not had to use it. There are overdose immunity protections in place, both for the person who has used the opioid and is in an overdose situation, and also for those who administer it to protect them as a good Samaritan. So there is really no liability whatsoever for that. We get it free from a partnership with Kittitas County Public Health. So it doesn't cost us anything. And we actually just got our second round of doses. The first round we got a number of years ago and they expired, which you can actually, I think, technically use it even after it's expired. It's recommended that if you had it and you had to use it, it's recommended that you use it even if it's expired. But we wanted to make sure we were following protocol. So we have new doses. And then we store them in our nurse's office and in the administrative offices. And it's designed so that it's readily accessible. We're actually working on implementing some training in the next week or so, hopefully, with Wendy, who's our district nurse. She is now trained and certified to deliver the Narcan training to all of our staff. So my hope is that we can get lots more folks at the high school and then now hopefully the middle school trained to administer it if we need to. And that training includes what to look for in an opioid overdose. Any questions?
So Neil, thank you. This is, I think, very supportive of this. We want to save lives. My question would just be, as far as most medications need parental permission. So I'm just, again, I don't have the answer for that tonight, but I know that that's something I'd be wondering about in the future. And then also the notification process. So if this was given to a child, how would the parents be notified?
So number one, yes, most medications do. This would be a life-saving medication. This would be someone who is unresponsive, clearly in an overdose situation. And that Good Samaritan law protects us and protects that person when they administer it. So we would definitely want to administer it if the child or even if a staff member were in an overdose condition and not responsive, not breathing, for example. So we wouldn't get on the phone and try to get a hold of parents at that point. We would simply administer it, save the life. And then what our second step, which is your second question, we would of course call EMS and get them coming and arriving, but then also notify the parent that here's what we had. We had a person who we believe was overdosing. We administered Narcan. It's a very safe medication. Give them their status and then ask them to come down.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Board, any other questions for Neil?
Hi, Neil. Thank you so much for doing it. Do you have any data that explains why you are asking us to have this implemented at the secondary level?
Yeah, so we do have it already implemented at the high school, and that's per state guidance. And what the state model policy said is that you can implement it at all secondary schools. And I wanted to be specific to say that we could have it at the middle school. Middle school is considered secondary, but I wanted to be specific to say that because we know that our high school age students hang around with kids who are middle school age students. And the same things that the high school age kids are doing are often replicated by the kids at the middle school level. And I would certainly rather be safe than sorry in that regard. So I don't have specific data, and I don't know that we would, about the numbers of kids that are using opioids and would maybe be in potential need of reversal medication at school. But again, I would rather have it and not have to use it than not have it and then have a situation where we were in need.
Thank you for that clarification.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you, Neil. Appreciate that update. So this policy is an action item.
Well, you have answered my question, why a policy is on the agenda that I don't know about. Brand new policy, but that seems very prudent. And I would move at this time that we adopt this policy as proposed.
And I second that we adopt policy 424.
All right. So Meg has moved that we adopt policy 3424 and Hilda has seconded. Is there any discussion, board?
All right. Then I will call the vote. Hilda?
Aye.
Sasha?
Aye.
Meg?
Aye.
Jonathan?
Aye.
I also vote aye. So policy 3424 is now approved.
Again, thank you, Neil. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you, Neil. All right, board. So that leads us to board reports. So Hilda, is there a report for early learning?
No, not at this time.
All right. Okay, so the students are probably back. Yeah, our first day, that'd be a lot. So hopefully the 22nd, they'll be joining us. That'll be great to have the students represented on board. Tasha, is there a teaching learning report?
There's not a report.
All right. Meg, is there a legislative report?
Only that WASDA, the Washington State School Directors Association, has rescheduled its legislative or conference or general assembly, which are now combined, to a virtual format and a later date than it previously was. And Ginger and I are registered to go to that conference. And WASDA has a 139-page handbook for that meeting, and WASA, the Washington Association of Superintendents, something or other, Washington Superintendents Association, has a 2-page document. I think I prefer the latter, but I'll read the former.
All right. Thank you, Meg. And I don't have a board chair report, but it's the first day of school. So I would love to put the superintendent on the spot and say, how did it go?
Thank you. It was amazing. I was at every school this morning, and students were excited to be there. The energy was high. Teachers seemed to be enjoying their classes, and principals said things went really smoothly today at school. So it was really exciting. We took lots of pictures. So at our September 22nd meeting, at our board meeting, I'll bring those and we can kind of highlight more of those beginnings. We did did get a nice video from Morgan Middle School, so we're going to post that on Facebook. And the high school did a nice video too, so we'll post those. And we've got some other great pictures of our elementary students. And so we'll have a bigger celebration on the 22nd.
All right.
Thank you, Ginger. And I think I can speak for the board how grateful we are for all the admin, the staff, and the teachers that made today happen. I know there was a lot of anxiety, there was a lot of stress, a lot that happened today, and a lot behind the scenes. So the board can't even possibly know how much work was done. So thank you. All of you who work for the district, as well as parents and kids too. So yeah.
Well, thank you, Jason. We really have an amazing, absolutely world-class staff here in ESD. They're just amazing. So we just appreciate all of them and thank you for your acknowledgement of that.
All right.
So that is the end of the report. So that would lead us to public comment.
So
Leslie, would you like to get us set up for that? And I will read off how this will work. So individuals wishing to be heard by the board will add their name to the document in the Zoom chat box.
And actually probably
prefer that individuals actually recognize themselves by raising their hand emoji on the Zoom to show that they're raising your hand so that we can then call on you for public comment. Once the chair calls on an individual, they will identify themselves by stating their name and address for the record. Also looking at, we do have a few people here in person, so I am going to let them go first if they would like to do public comment, and then we'll open it up to Zoom. Individuals will proceed to make comments within the 3-minute time limit in order to provide equal opportunity for comments. An individual's microphone will be turned off at the 3-minute time limit. The chair may interrupt or terminate an individual's statement when it's too lengthy, personally directed, abusive, obscene, or irrelevant. The board as a whole has the final decision determining the appropriateness of all such rulings. In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act 4230, agendas and topics must be set in advance of the meeting. Board members will not respond to public comment during the meeting. Additionally, comments may be submitted to the board at board@esd401.org. So Leslie, I think as long as you are ready, we can begin public comment. And I'd like to open that up to those here in person if you would like to go. And I just ask that you check in with Leslie so that she has your information. Thank you.
On the speakers over there. Okay.
Yep, thank you. And sir, there is a speaker over there, and you're welcome to take a chair with you if you want. Yes.
Hello. Wow. I'm Gerald Malella, 1405 North Canterbury Drive in Ellensburg. I am the grandfather of a 4th grader going to Mount Stewart. I have a couple of questions, I guess, more than comments. I was glad to see all 25 kids in her class wearing a mask. I was quite concerned that somebody would show up without it. And I've been told that the board policy is that they won't wear a mask that is given to them. They have to leave. If that's not correct, let me know. My second concern, of course, is teachers who have not been vaccinated. And I don't know if this has been discussed before. I haven't heard the policy, but by Monday, they're either supposed to have their first shot or turn in their religious reasons why they can't do it. I'm sure there's some medical reasons that people really can't get vaccinated. There are no religious reasons. If you'd like to see the list of all the religions in this country that allow vaccinations, I have it. So when somebody turns in something for a religious reason on Monday, please check whatever church they're in if they allow it, because they all do. Okay? Concern. Now, my second question is, what are we going to do if somebody doesn't get vaccinated or doesn't bother to even turn in a slip? Can't fire them? Supposed to, but then you wouldn't have half the teachers in the school. I think you really got to bear down on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in person? Looks like there is not. Okay. So Leslie, if we can now open it up to Zoom. So again, if you are joining us in Zoom, please raise your hand, the emoji. Also, Leslie, if you can just verify that that is enabled, that they can raise their hand. Because we do have the chat. The chat is not enabled, so you will not be able to chat, but you should be able to find the emoji to raise your hand. And it looks like we have a hand raise. And Leslie, I can't see the name, so if you can announce. Okay. All right, so it looks like first up is Robert Lowry. So Leslie's going to work to unmute you. As soon as you are unmuted, we will set the timer for you to begin. It looks like you are now unmuted.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. And I will just ask the question then, based on the last response or the last comments that were made. Is it going to be the official board position that there will be no religious exemptions that will be allowed for teachers or staff who want to try to have a religious exemption for the vaccine mandate from the governor? I would like an answer if the board is going to have a policy on that.
All right. Thank you, Robert.
I'm sorry.
Leslie, I don't see any other hands. So Leslie, I'll rely on you. I don't see any other hands, so I'm comfortable if you want to set a timer for 30 seconds, as long as you check to make sure that the list doesn't have anyone signed up on it. Again, I just encourage you, we don't want to miss you, so if you are wanting to speak for public comment, please raise your hand emoji so we can see you. And Leslie, whenever you're ready, you can set the timer for 30 seconds. All right. Thank you. So public comment is now closed. I will turn to Ginger. Ginger, do you have any clarification? No? Okay. So we will move forward, board, with new business, and that is proposed items for future consideration.
Been diligently reading my daily e-clippings and saw that the Washington State Board of Education is offering a webinar on September 21st and 28th on grants that are available for mastery-based learning. And I just wanted to make sure that the staff was aware of that and that we would pursue it to the extent it was relevant.
Thanks, Meg. Anything else, board, for future considerations? Seeing none. So that takes us to meeting closing. So, board, or sorry, there is no executive session tonight, correct? All right. Is there anything for board calendar? I'm not seeing anything there as well. How about clarification and next steps? Ginger's good there. Signing of documents. Leslie, are we still needing signatures? Do we need some people to stay? Oh, yes, I see a stack of papers. So board, do not leave. If she needs your signature, you can't leave till you sign. So
I haven't signed anything. But I was wondering how we handle this governor, the letter to the governor. Are we signing? Yeah. But I mean, so we were not going to sign it as a board.
As secretary.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Thank you for that clarification. All right. Well, then that is it. That would lead us to adjournment. So I need a motion.
I move that we adjourn.
And a second.
And I second.
All right. So officially Tasha has moved to adjourn. Hilda has seconded. Meeting is now adjourned. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I need to get